We are at Frisco Woods Campground. Frisco Woods Campground, and this is in Hatteras Island. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Hatteras Island. I've got Sandra with me.
It's in Frisco, North Carolina.
Frisco, North Carolina, but we are on Hatteras Island, and we did see the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, and along with the usual stuff that we'll do in each of the counties that we're staying in, we also like to share stories. Not all of them are paranormal. Some of them are just really interesting stories. And so this one here has to do with the Gray Man of Hatteras. The Gray Man of Hatteras. Now, where I'm getting the story from is North Carolina Ghost. So if you just Google North Carolina Ghost, you will see this story. And they've got all types of other ones. But like I said, just go www.northcarolinaghost.com and just search for the Gray Man of Hatteras, and you will see this exact story. Now, what I think is kind of ironic about this is that we've just actually came out of a storm that we didn't even know that was coming.
No, it was a nor'easter.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Going on to the Gray Man of Hatteras, it has to do with the storms, especially hurricanes. And so I think it was just kind of wild that we just came out of a storm. And this storm kind of came out of a hurricane. And so it's kind of a little folklore type of thing. And so, but it goes like this. Hurricanes are a fact of life on the Carolina coast. Every few years, one of these tremendous storms is going to blow in from the Atlantic and flood the coast, doing tremendous damage. These storms always move on, but while the hurricane is blowing, it's certain that homes will be lost. No point in the state is more vulnerable to hurricanes than Cape Hatteras. Hatteras Island sits right on the edge of the Gulf Stream, the massive current of warm water that circles through the Atlantic. This current is powerful enough to have shaped the island itself into a distinct point that Cape Hatteras sits at the edge of, and we do know that. Tremendous winds that we got from this last storm. But going on, it says the Gulf Stream is also a path that hurricanes coming in from the Atlantic often follow, drawing their energy from the warm waters flowing beneath them. With the Gulf Stream pointed right at Cape Hatteras, there's a good chance that any hurricane blowing in will hit the island. Excuse me. Now, I will say this. We felt, if the storm that we experienced, which has definitely closed down a road or two, especially coming into the island, if you're coming from up north, I can only imagine what a hurricane. And we was warned by campers where we're at about this storm that we just came out of because of the winds. And but they left. About a good almost half of the campground evacuated. It wasn't because they had to, it's because they wanted to. And so, but going on, it says, but there's something on Hatteras that lets the islanders know when a storm is coming. The Gray Man of Hatteras is an indistinct, shadowy figure who walks the beaches of Cape Hatteras as a hurricane is approaching. He appears as the first winds of the storm touch the island whenever a hurricane is a threat to the island and its inhabitants. He never speaks, or at least no one has ever heard him speak. No one has ever gotten close enough. If anyone approaches the Gray Man, his form slowly fades into the salty air, completely vanishing before the curious onlooker can reach where he was standing. But his presence alone is enough to warn the islanders. If he's seen on a beach, It's a sure way to know that the oncoming storm will be a bad one. He's a warning that nature is still something to be taken seriously. Who is this gray man? Some people say that he's the ghost of a sailor from the island who died at sea in a hurricane. They say that he comes back to warn his fellow islanders of the danger, because his soul was so terrorized by his windy, watery inn that he can't bear to go on from this world while he can still prevent others from sharing his fate. Some others will tell you that he never was a man, that he's just a force of nature, that he's not so much a ghost as a spirit, an expression of the force pushing the wind and waves towards the vulnerable island. Even in today's world, where we can watch the storms form from space and fly airplanes into the storm to measure the winds, we still give each hurricane a name when it's born. We may name them because some part of us still thinks that anything so powerful and so willful must be alive. Maybe the gray man is just the hurricane itself talking to us, the voice of that living force born out of the deep ocean. Whoever he was, whatever he is, the Gray Man of Hatteras still walks the beaches under the shadow of the tallest lighthouse whenever a hurricane is heading towards the island. Even as Cape Hatteras has gone from being a lonely little island to a crowded tourist beach, the Gray Man still warns us of the coming storm. So if you're ever on Hatteras and you turn on the TV, and they are talking about a storm, stroll down to the cloud-covered beach and look out towards the waves as the few drops of rain begin to fall. Look for a shadowy figure prowling the beach where the high waves hit the sand. And if you see him, pack up and get off the island as quick as you can. The storm is going to be a big one. And that is the story of the Gray Man of Hatteras. Do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions. Although I will say we were out at the ocean day before yesterday. And I don't think I could have seen anything for the sand pelting me.
Yeah, I will say that, But
it hurt.
It was not a hurricane.
No.
It has to be a hurricane.
It was a nor'easter.
I know. It has to be the hurricane for this Gray Man of Hatteras to appear. Now, the storm that we had, I've heard also it has to do with the moon.
It there was a tide too.
Yeah.
It was the nor'easter and
they called it king
tide or the
king
lunar
tide.
tide.
Okay.
Lunar tide. Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about that.
I don't either.
We have been learning a lot of new terminology, new things.
And I will say this: the people down here act like it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I'm telling you, where we live at, you can always go around a road to get to where your destination needs to be. Here,
you get locked in.
You get one road coming in and one road coming out.
You get locked in. Like the girl at the camp store today said she wasn't going up to Avon, which isn't that far up north, but because the water's in the road.
Yeah.
And until the end of the week, and this is Monday.
Yeah.
So, you're stuck here. We're basically stuck here.
I can understand why some of the campers left.
Yes.
I can understand that. And so, and I'm sure we were looked at as just being nuts. And I'm to tell you right now, the several days that I had to experience the cold, with the powerful winds, we're talking 50 and 60 mile an hour winds. I was thinking to myself, I'm crazy. And so,
every time we
crazy
went out the door, it was like we're going to war or something.
Oh yeah, it's just
the wind.
It's because of the way that we're situated. Now we're on the sound side. We're not on the side.
The ocean side
of the ocean. Outside of the ocean. And so, what is really amazing is that when we talk about sound, you hear the sound. I have actually heard that it's really kind of a mystery on how it got its name. You know, you heard of the Sound, the Pamlico Sound, and then you got the Atlantic Ocean. I have heard that sailors named it the Sound because it's the best place to be, safe and sound.
Oh, okay.
Safe and sound. And so I have heard that's how it's got its name. And so that's just a little bit of extra, little something on the side for you. And so, but guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was educational. I hope it was spooky. And so if you want to learn more, please visit my YouTube channel. And for my YouTubers, just scroll down through my playlist and you will learn more. And this is the journey through North Carolina. And my wife and I are staying at least one night in every county in North Carolina. There's 100 counties, and we give the fun facts about each county we stay in. We usually try real hard to visit somewhere of an interest. Maybe that somebody don't know much about. Maybe it could be insignificant. It could have a historical significance, or it could be just freaking weird, and we just think it's neat. But usually we'll visit somewhere in that county, and we'll share that. And then, of course, we share these little stories if there's any in that county. And so I'll usually will share something. And so we are on Hatteras Island even as we speak. And so I just thought it would be just neat to share the story of the Gray Man of Hatteras. But you guys take care, be safe, and make sure you tip your hat off to Mr. Gray Man if you see him on the beach of Hatteras. Take care. Bye-bye.